We're going to go ahead and replace the rear brake pads on this RMZ 250. In this case, since we have the rear wheel off, we want you to get a clear shot of how it's being done. Usually you don't need to get the rear wheel off, but it is easier if you do have the caliper off the area. So we're going to slide the pins out. Be very careful not to lose the little shim that protects the brake pad from sitting on top of this aluminum bracket. Leave the shim right where it's at. And we're going to go ahead. We're going to release the pin that is on the caliper. The pin gets released. And it's a single pin on this caliper. So pin comes out. And so do the stock brake pads. Stock brake pads usually have a little metal shim. Should this be used back on the Galfer brake pads? It's your choice. We have found no direct positive or negative effect. Some people say that it protects this backing plate protects the new brake pads from any excessive heat, although our brake pads are designed to take excessive heat, but you can always reuse these metal shims if you prefer doing so. We've removed the new brake pads from the Galfer packaging, and we're going to go ahead and install them. You put them one on top of the other, and go ahead and sit them inside of the caliper. You're going to go back to reusing the stock pin. So you just push them in, pass the pin through the two holes on the caliper, and tighten the caliper back on. Take the pin back on. No, don't tie it too tight at the beginning. You just simply want to position the brake pads back where they belong. This would be a perfect time to go ahead and with a small screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, put the screwdriver in between the two brake pads and push the piston out a little bit. When you're putting brand new brake pads, the piston is pushed all the way out from the used brake pad. You want to put the screwdriver in the middle, prime it a little bit, very careful not to damage the brand new surface, but you prime it a little bit and the piston pushes all the way down. We've already done that on this caliper, so we're basically ready to go. Now again, like I was telling you, you do not need to every time remove all of the pieces. In this case, we've just done it so you could see it. You're going to make sure that the shim that originally came on this bracket goes back on it, and you just push the pins back inside. You slide them back inside, and you make sure the brake pad tips are sitting perfectly at the end of the shim on this aluminum part. Once the caliper is reinstalled, you've got to make sure that you bolt everything up properly and follow the stock OEM specifications for bolting everything else up. As far as it matters, you know, the brake pads do not need to wiggle. They need to be nice and snug inside. And, you know, when you're riding, just the beginning first, I would say 2 or 3 laps, just come back into the pits and check your caliper. Make sure that you have no bad binding and that everything is running properly. That's it. You should be set.